Always a heady feeling for football fans to have Champions League action come and light up a regular midweek. It allows us a quick reunion with our own master tactician Matt Holland. The former Welsh footballer joins us from Bangkok. Matt, I'd really like to begin a footballing conversation talking tactics and one-on-one battles, but the goings-on at Manchester United demand a look at just off-the-field matters first. Let me address the special elephant in the room right at the top. If the result tonight at Old Trafford goes against the Red Devils, could this be the last we see of Jose Mourinho in the Champions League for the time being?
I think it's certainly a possibility. Obviously, you know, it's a big week for them this week. You know, although they got through the first game, you know, I think recent results and recent few days actually, never mind the results, you know, how the mood is in the camp there. Could certainly see Mourinho leave his position at Manchester United. You know, it seems to be at this point in time slightly untenable.
What do Man United do differently on the pitch, Matt? What is it that Jose Mourinho needs to correct or address in his system to get the results going and perhaps ensure his stay isn't very short-lived?
Well, you know, I certainly think he's got enough talent available to him. Again, on a personal level, I do like Anthony Martial. I think he's a terrific player. He's young, he's dynamic. I think he's got a knack of delivering most of the time when he does play. I know Marcus Rashford is another terrific talent and a player that's proven his worth by playing more regular games at Manchester United. So, what does he change? I mean, is Marouane Fellaini a Manchester United player? For me, not really. Without taking any credit away from him, he earned the move after a fantastic few years at Everton. Can Manchester United get better than him? Yes. You know, they're not in a position to do that. But he likes him, doesn't he? He seems to play him an awful lot. You know, he seems to turn to him a lot. So whether he has specific leadership skills that we don't see, sitting on this side of the TV screen or sitting in the stands, so to speak, observing games. You know, but it's interesting, isn't it, that Luke Shaw this week has come out, so has Nemanja Matic, you know, and they've rallied around it. The team have to take more responsibility. They are responsible for it. So you know, he's rattled a few feathers with his press conference statements. And two big players, I think, for Manchester United. Matic certainly is a player he brought in. You know, they've obviously listened to that and they've added to it.
Let's talk about their neighbours now, Matt. Any defeat of this Manchester City team counts as an upset, but perhaps no better time to get an early shake-up and put things together before it starts getting too late?
Yeah, I would like to think that Manchester City would win this game against Hoffenheim, but you know, Julian Nagelsmann is a terrific coach. He's tactically very astute. Over the past 2 seasons, I don't think you can take any credit away from the work that he's done at Hoffenheim, even much so that, of course, he's already signed for another team for next year, you know, in Red Bull. So, I mean, I'm sure he will have studied Manchester City heavily, I'm sure, not just from his own team's perspective of playing them, but, you know, in observation of Guardiola and Guardiola's work as a young coach. I think I don't know if he will come up actually with a surprise plan that is different to normal, but I'm sure he will be highly prepared, and so will the team. I'm wondering whether Manchester City may have just a little bit too much quality. If you think to the Bundesliga, when Bayern really turn it on, is it going to be a similar situation whereby Bayern have top players in the Bundesliga, and when they play on their day, they thrash teams? Whether Manchester City will have, again, that little bit too much for Hoffenheim at home.
There is another giant European team facing a few issues. Now, Real Madrid's troubles may not be anywhere close to the red alert condition of Manchester United, but a few iffy results in the last week. And when you have a fan base and an owner as demanding as Real's, it doesn't take long for a mini collapse to turn into a big crisis.
Yeah, I read a Twitter feed today from a gentleman by the name of Juan Arango. He was speaking about actually quoting Guardiola in an interview, and Guardiola was saying that the media in Spain, not just with Real Madrid, but the media in Spain are brutal. It's not just they want you to fail, they want you to hurt, they want you to be punished, and this goes throughout Spain. We all know the history of Real Madrid. There have been coaches that have won leagues and have won Champions Leagues and have left by the clubs doing, not by their own accord. They're in, again, another team in transition with a new coach. The superstar of many a year now, close to 10 years, has left. There are other superstars looking at the likes of Gareth Bale. Is he going to come through this net now and be the leading marksman for them? Or will he still play that second fiddle to one of the biggest superstars, if there is one there? Luka Modric has got a fair bit surrounding him personally off the pitch with some of the things that are going on in Croatia that we all know about also. So, I mean, they haven't really had too bad a start, have they? Okay, a draw with Atletico. There's been other days when they've won, but Atletico are no mugs by any means. And Sevilla also. The result against Sevilla, again, Europa Cup winners, finalists. It's very simple. They are two teams that are very good teams also. You can't take it away from them. But if you look at Madrid, they've not really recruited anybody. They obviously brought in Mariano, who was there before when he was younger. So is he really a new recruit? In some respects, no. They've balanced the books a little bit in terms of the finances. I was discussing with somebody also a few days ago about this. So based on that, there's not too much change except maybe the coach's tactical plans and how he wants to play, and everybody getting used to each other.
Yes, it is bound to take some getting used to not having a guy who scored 450 goals for the club. But let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo's present club now, Matt. Rare is the day when a Champions League match day does not feature Ronaldo, but that will happen tonight given the red card from the previous game. And while you can bet your bank he'll be ruining a chance to add to his excessive goal scoring in the competition, it's a well-timed rest given that Juventus have a double-header against Manchester United after this round of fixtures.
Yep, Ronaldo, he's a fantastic specimen now, isn't he? He's developed his body, his physiological qualities that he brings to the team. The way that he takes care of himself is commendable for a player of his age. Let's not forget that. So again, that extra rest would be welcomed. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I wonder whether against the young boys would he have played. Even if he wasn't suspended, would he have played? I think the pressure would be that he has to play because he's Cristiano Ronaldo. There's so much more that, again, maybe we don't see behind the curtain of commercial benefits for him to play. But, ultimately, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd need to play in this game. They could rest him. I think they will win comfortably because they still have fantastic talent in the team.
Finally, a word on Bayern Munich. They too had an indifferent last week. The way they go about in the German league, it becomes a bit of a talking point if they drop points even once. So for that to have happened twice in the space of 3 days is something that won't please Niko Kovac. But you'd still mark them as heavy favourites at Ajax, won't you?
Yeah, I think personally, just because, even though they've lost a couple of players also and some changes, they've still got immense quality, immense experience. But again, just without flipping too much back to Real Madrid, but in another club with a new head coach. Kovac is a good coach. I was fortunate enough to meet him. I spent a few hours with him on a conference at one point back in 2014. Fantastic to talk football with. He was very passionate about his ideas. He had a fantastic career. He would know most of these players. They would look up to him. So, again, sometimes the engine takes a little bit of time to start. But I fully expect that by the end of the season, Bayern will be coasting in the Bundesliga and they will begin to the latter stages of the Champions League.
Right, that sets us up nicely for the action coming up tonight. Thank you as always, Matt Holland, for joining us with your thoughts and inputs. Look forward to your company once again in 24 hours' time to look back at what transpires tonight.